one fundamental statement we can make today is peace. And so I would introduce someone who is about the being of peace, ZachIbrahim.
Thank you. My name is ZachIbrahim, and I'm here to share a little bit of my life story with you. On November 6, 1990, when I was 7 years old, my father assassinated before the assassination took place, Ghana had given a speech supporting the violent removal of Palestinians from Israeli-occupied land. While attempting to flee the scene, my father was shot by a federal postal officer. Both he and Meyer Kahana were rushed to the hospital with similar gunshot wounds. Kahana died at Bellevue Hospital that night. My father lived. Although he was initially acquitted of the murder while serving time on assault and weapons charges, he began planning attacks on a dozen New York City landmarks like tunnels, synagogues, and United Nations headquarters. Thankfully, those plans were foiled by an FBI informant. Sadly, the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center was not. My father, Al-Sayed Nasser, would eventually be convicted for his involvement in the plot. Being the son of a convicted terrorist, I was indoctrinated from a very young age to an ideology that promotes using violence as a justifiable means of expression. Luckily, as I got older, I realized that violence only begets more violence. At 6 years old, I was being trained at a shooting range to fire fully automatic weapons. And so I share my story to illustrate that no matter the exposure to violence, you can always find peace. In 1988, I had to say goodbye to one of my friends whose stepfather took him and his siblings from their home in New Jersey to Pakistan, where they trained and eventually fought in Afghanistan. He was 10 years old. Although he had some training in automatic weapons, because of his inexperience, he was eventually used to lob grenades at the enemy's occupying forces. When he came back less than a year later, the child that I remembered as being very vibrant and happy was now this solemn veteran of the Afghan war. He was a shadow of his former self. His innocence was taken from him by a war that he had no business being a part of. And that is one of the symptoms of violence. Humanity will, in a back and forth effort to, I can't see. In a back and forth effort to gain even the slightest strategic advantage against one's enemies, man has gone to lengths inconceivable by those sheltered from the negative effects of war. Humanity has shown that it will exploit almost any resource, even children, in the name of one ideology or another. Each time we resort to war, whether it's a means of resolving conflict or for spreading some counterfeit perception of freedom, we guarantee the exploitation and the killing of innocent people. And that is why we are all here today. Because we hear the reasons that wars are fought in our name, and we find those reasons unacceptable. But never feel disheartened. Each time we make the most of our efforts to promote nonviolence, whether it's attending an anti-war rally or whether it's advocating for peace in our daily lives, we will surely leave this earth a better place for the ones we love. And I just want to thank everyone for participating today. All of these experiences resonate through our children and through our communities, and just being here really is wonderful. And I just want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you.